Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So today I want to cover a story, or just it's really a short report um, about the experiences of this young lady running her own business in a section of Rio de Janeiro. The name of today's video: People never think I'm the owner. They think my white employee is, says young woman on the challenges of being an entrepreneur. So I want to get directly into this video, what this means, put it into its proper context as always. But before I do that, I want to ask you to like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the notification bell so that you'll be aware when I put up my latest video. And with that said, let's move directly into the video and see what this is all about today. Okay, so this is the young lady, Mariana Moura. She runs a clothing company called Dream Pink. It always trips me out when I see, Brazilians. They know how big the English speaking market is. And as you know, Brazilians speak Portuguese, they'll often name stores or whatever. They'll name anything that's, that they have something to do with, their business, their online profile. They'll use words in English, just trying to get a piece of that traffic that comes out of the English speaking world. You know, as we know, English is the business language of the world. And, even though Portuguese is a lot, there's hundreds of millions of people who speak Portuguese around the world, most of them in Brazil, it's not what you would call a dominant language. So, you'll often see businesses in Brazil named, using English words. So she calls her, what is it? It's called Dream Pink. So what is she talking about here? Before I get into the particular article where I'm talking about her, this goes again to what I talk about when I say what is the image and the quote unquote place of Black Brazilians. The point is, the image of Black Brazilians says that they are the least attractive. They are always going to be poor. They're going to be uneducated. In short, nobody who wants to be anybody should want to be Black. Hence the theory, the ideology that's been spread throughout the country that says, Black and brown people, you should want to mix with white people so that you can create lighter skin, and something, if not white, something at least close to white, because everything that is Black in Brazil has been demonized. So it's like, when Brazilians see Black Brazilians in areas where they're not expected to be, it's almost a shock. Like, what are you guys doing here? I remember when I first started going to Brazil in the year 2000, I don't remember seeing any Black people at the biggest airport in Sao Paulo, which is the Guarulhos airport. Now, over the years, that's changed. I'd say, a lot, because when I first started going to Brazil, you didn't see many Black people with cars. Like I said, you didn't see many. I'm talking about Black Brazilians. You didn't see many Black Brazilians catching flights to wherever they might be going. It was just, you saw the clear separation between those who have and those who do not. And in this 24 years that I've been tracking what's going on with Black Brazil, I have to say there's been a lot of improvements, but the image of who are the haves and who are the have-nots remain firmly in place, which is actually what this lady is talking about. I've seen over particularly the last 10 to 15 years, this rise in what they call Afro entrepreneurialism. You see a lot more Black Brazilians participating in entrepreneurial endeavors. Let me see if I can find an article. Okay, so like for here, when I used to go to Brazil, and I say the first decade, you go to a bookstore, you didn't see many books by or about Black Brazilians. If you saw books written by or about Black people, they were usually like Black Americans either wrote the book or it was about a Black American. Black Brazilians were just invisible in bookstores in their own country. In the last decade or 15 years, you've seen the rise of a lot of Black Brazilians, we'll say organizations and businesses. It says, well, if we want to have more Black authors and more stories that talk about the Black perspective, then we have to create them ourselves. This is an article from 2021 speaking on the challenges of Black authors in publishing books in Brazil. The Afro-Brazilian literature is gradually gaining more space in bookstores. Along with that, we've seen a number of Black-oriented editors and publishers who are putting out books by Black Brazilians. The idea of the entrepreneurial spirit for Black Brazilians, it's always been there, but it really started taking off with this you could say Black Expo event that started popping off in Sao Paulo in the early 2000s called Feira Preta. I've talked about it a lot. The name comes up from time to time, and I have to just do a full video on Feira Preta one day. If you're ever in Sao Paulo, usually the Feira Preta happens in November, which is the Black Consciousness Day and Black Consciousness Month in Brazil. Feira Preta is a huge event, and usually at least, a 3-day weekend where you have Black entrepreneurs and vendors selling their goods. Might be clothes, they might be Afro-Brazilian style food, it might be music, might be books, performances. Anybody who's been to one of the Black expos in several cities with large Black populations in the United States, you will definitely want to check out Feira Preta if you've never been there and you just happen to be in Brazil or in Sao Paulo specifically. This is an Afro bank. This article from 2021. Brazil now has 5 Black-owned financial initiatives. New Afro TV platform brings content and Black narratives targeting the Black Afro-Brazilian population. So we've been seeing the rise of a lot of Black entrepreneurial, we'll say, endeavors, particularly over the last 15 years. These women, Negras Unidas, United Black Women Micro Entrepreneurs in Southern Brazil. Obviously, this was happening during the pandemic. 7 Afro-Brazilian entrepreneurs came together to make masks, with, maybe African or Afro-themed, patterns on the mask. But then they run into problems. Like 32% of Afro-Brazilian entrepreneurs have been denied credit. Black encounter a movement to strengthen Afro entrepreneurship. Let's see what else we have here. The Black entrepreneur is denied credit 3 times more than the white entrepreneur. So really, that talks a lot about when we speak on the idea of Black Brazilians being entrepreneurs. The downside of this, let me see if I can see. Okay, here. This is what I wanted to talk about. 2015, for the first time, the number of Black entrepreneurs has surpassed that of whites in Brazil. Now, according to the headline, that might be something that you think, well, that's something positive. There's more Black entrepreneurs in Brazil than white entrepreneurs, starting from 2015. But the catch is that these are not full-blown businesses. These are, in most cases, the majority of these businesses are just like one man or one woman operation. They don't even have employees. A lot of people who get into Black people who get into business in Brazil, they do it more out of a necessity rather than trying to just improve their lives, by becoming entrepreneurs. If they couldn't find a good paying job, they take to the streets and they become their own entrepreneurs. And the entrepreneur, when they talk about Black entrepreneurs, there are more than white entrepreneurs. I mean, somebody in the street selling water could be considered an entrepreneur. So it's a little bit, it's not exactly how it seems. Like, okay, it's great that people are becoming entrepreneurs, but on the other hand, there's things that's coming along with that that's already set in progress that Afro-Brazilians are going to have a tougher time becoming, real entrepreneurs where you're going to be hiring people to work for your company. Okay. So anyway, that is the situation of Black entrepreneurs in Brazil. But let's talk about what this young lady had to say. Okay. People never think I'm the owner or the boss, says young woman on the challenges of entrepreneurship. Today's article and video is courtesy of Notícia Preta, which means Black News, is one of the top Afro-Brazilian websites. Today's article is written by Mateus Ramos. So let's see what this young lady is talking about. The Ministry of Finance recently announced that there are 15.7 million individual micro entrepreneurs in Brazil with active CNPJs, or CNPJ, they'll say in Brazil. The CNPJ is basically the number associated with your business. You have to have this number in order to be considered an entrepreneur in Brazil, the CNPJ number. Notícia Preta spoke to the owner of the Dream Pink clothing store, Mariana Moura. Born in Nova Iguaçu in the Baixada Fluminense region of Rio de Janeiro, she talks about the challenges of entrepreneurship. She says, a lot of people come into my store and don't think I'm the owner. I hired an employee to help. She was white, so to speak. I like that, so to speak. I think this is recognizing the idea that I've been talking about for a while. There are people in Brazil who, there are people who would be white anywhere in the world, white Brazilians, but there are other white Brazilians, put in quotes, say, okay, you're mostly white, but we know you're not like European white. You have some mixture going on there. So that's what she say. Her employee was white, so to speak. She's accepted as white in Brazil. She may not be white in other countries. Anyway, and she says, and the people who came in, even for the first time, they went straight to her because people never think I'm the owner. There's always that feeling of inferiority. Sometimes he asks, "Oh, you're the owner? I didn't know," she says. So people automatically come into her store and they assume that she is the employee, and the white employee that she hired, they assume that she must be the owner or the boss. Race and place in Brazil. This is how it plays out every day. The Global Entrepreneurship Monitor 2023 survey carried out by Sebrae and the National Association for Studies in Entrepreneurship and Small Business Management reveals that Brazil has at least 42 million entrepreneurs between the ages of 18 to 64. Moura talks about what led her to quit her CLT job and start her own business. She says, "I've always loved clothes. It was a field I wanted to work in. I suffered a lot working as a CLT worker," CLT meaning the consolidation of labor laws. It was just like a real job she had. From Sunday to Sunday with very busy hours, a boss who demanded a lot, and I decided to leave, she said. Mariana talks about the high cost of goods and difficulties she faces with the prices of the big online stores, which charge below market value. Nowadays, everything costs too much for us to be able to buy goods. Online stores sell things at a much lower cost or price. This makes it a bit difficult for those starting out, she says. This study, based on data from the PNAB, which means the National Household Sample Survey for the third quarter of 2023, showed that 52% of business owners in the country are Black. The survey identifies that of the 29.3 million small business owners in the country, formalized or not, around 15.2 million declare themselves to be Black or brown. Now, I always have to go over that stat again. When it says 52%, business owners in the country who are Black, it's to say this combination of preto and pardo, which means Black and brown in Brazil. Under how the Black rights movements see it, the Black and brown population together should constitute the Black population, whereas those who see it differently, they think Black and brown should be separated. I've talked about that in a number of videos. Check out some past videos for further explanation. Journalist and professor of entrepreneurship, Rafael Rodrigues, draws attention to the difficulty for those starting out and points to the lack of opportunity. The lack of opportunity, more government incentive for these entrepreneurs to showcase their services through events, exhibitions, institutions that can support them, he points out. So anyway, just to put this a little further into context, I wanted to look at a couple of other articles here. Brazilians. Do Brazilians really believe we are all equal, as they say, nós somos todos iguais? Nós somos todos iguais. That's a regular saying in Brazil. Whenever a hint of racism comes up, people automatically say, no, here in Brazil, we're all equal. But a hidden camera caught the reactions of some people just doing a reaction on. In this test, they took Black Brazilians and white Brazilians and put them in the same clothes and let people guess what type of occupation they thought they might have. The video shows the different reactions to almost identical photos, with the only difference being skin color. This article is from some years back, and it just showed, again, it shows how, for example, a Black woman looking at clothes is going to be seen as somebody who's looking to buy some clothes, whereas the white woman, she might be the owner of the store. You put a Black man in a suit and they think he's mall security. You put a white man in a suit and they think he works as human resources, or he's like a CEO, or, he's a top manager at a bank. So this is how people automatically see things when the only difference is race. Okay, look here. An old saying in Brazil says a Black man running is a thief, while a white man running is an athlete. So Brazilians deal with this type of race and place. It just says, all things being equal, the Black person is probably going to be this and the white person is going to probably be this, always putting the white person in the superior position, because it's been assumed throughout the years that anybody who has brown or Black skin, they have to be of the lower status in comparison to the white person. Okay. This is another old stereotype. If a Black woman opens the door in a nice home in a nice neighborhood, she must be the maid. It's a tried and true stereotype. It's like, she's Black. What would she be doing in such a nice home? So they actually, this YouTube video actually did a spoof on that, just talking about the expectation. Like, just what I just said. If a black person opens the door, they must be somebody rendering their services to the white owner of the house. That's what this comic strip says. The new black middle class. Here's a guy with a briefcase. He knocks on the door and he says, "Hi, I wanted to speak with the owner of the house." And she says, "Yeah, you go ahead and talk. It's me." And he says, "Look, I know that he must trust you very much, but I would like to speak to him personally." Okay. So anybody who lives in Brazil and has endured that, they know what that situation means. This woman in the video, I don't know if it's still posted. Some of the videos that I post, sometimes they're not up anymore. So this is a white woman. She's like a salesperson going door to door. She knocks on this nice door in this nice neighborhood, and she meets a black woman. Like, "Oh, may I see the owner of the house? Like, you can speak. It's me." She goes in, and just black people throughout the house. Maybe the girl's sister. Like, this is a black family of the middle class. What are you shocked about? When she finally comes to realize that this is a black family and a black woman at the door is the owner of the house, like, she passes out. Like, this can't be true. I mean, okay, they went a little bit overboard with the video, but the point here is that this is how race and place plays out in Brazil. The black person is always seen as being the lower of, we'll say, the social hierarchy. Black skin says you're of lower social status. So then when they come across people who are not in that lower social status, a lot of people don't know how to react. They often don't believe it. Let's see here. Okay, I talked about that one already. Okay, so let me see what else here. Afro entrepreneurship. Although racism is the principal obstacle for black entrepreneurs, Brazil's tax system also puts them at a disadvantage. Let me say, okay, so these are just some articles that just talk about the rise of black entrepreneurship in Brazil. You want to check out some of these articles, definitely go over to blackbraziltoday.com. Like I said, there's almost 4,000 articles over there. Okay, so I've already talked about this, the inequalities that persist in entrepreneurship in Brazil. So anyway, that's just a short video. I wanted to talk about why this is important, because this woman had the wherewithal to go about opening her own company. But yet, working with her own company, people automatically come into her store and automatically assume that the white girl who works for her, she must be the owner, and the black girl must be the employee, in which it's the other way around. This is daily life in Brazil, if you've never been there. So anyway, wanted to know what you all thought about this video. Drop a comment in the comment section, like this video, share this video. Consider subscribing to the channel if you've been here and seen more than a few videos. Click on that notification bell so that you know when I put up another video. And with that said, I'm going to end the video here and request that you all come back. Check out the next video that I post.